What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Gary Russell Jr., aka Lil Gary. Speaking on the possibility of him beating up on Edwin De Los Santos. All right, I'm gonna read into it. Then I'm gonna give you my opinion. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. All right. Alright, so shout out to BoxingScene.com. It says Gary Russell Jr. believes he'll walk through Edwin De Los Santos. He's not sharp enough. Alright. Oh wow, okay. It's been a while since fans have seen. I wasn't gonna say this. Let me just say this. You talking about Edwin De Los Santos ain't sharp enough? Gary, you're not active enough. Alright, let's just put that there right there. Alright, but let's go ahead and read. Alright. It's been a while since fans have seen Gary Russell Jr. in the ring. The former featherweight champ has been both out of sight and out of mind since losing his title to Mark Masano in January of 2022. In addition to undergoing shoulder surgery, Russell, who has the record of 31-2 with 18 knockouts, simply hasn't been interested in jumping back in the mix with just anyone. As for where he sees himself competing, his days at 126 pounds are essentially over with. Moving up one weight class is normally the pragmatic move for most fighters, but Russell believes he needs a two-division reprieve. Going up to 135 could give Russell a ton of options. Of course, the aging vet would rather fight for a world title in his debut. However, that is impossible. He admitted that he wouldn't have an issue taking on highly ranked contender Edwin De Los Santos. I can see that, said Russell during an interview with Mill City Boxing while not, and I can see that. De Los Santos, who is 24 years old, needs a feel-good story following his close but clear defeat at the hands of Shakur Stevenson. On the night, the Dominican did his best to corner Stevenson and let his hands go, but it was as Stevenson was two steps ahead. It was the first crack at a world title, but De Los Santos is hoping that it won't be this last. Russell, to a certain degree, is looking to bounce back himself. He hasn't jumped into the ring in nearly 2 years. It'll actually be 2 years later this month. He hasn't jumped in the ring in nearly 2 years and is desperate to get back in the mix, making De Los Santos the perfect opponent. As for now, how a showdown between them will play out, Russell doesn't believe that doesn't believe that the issue De Los Santos gave Stevenson would happen if they shared the ring. I'll spank his ass. I forgot I can't.
YouTube, you did not hear that. If you're listening to YouTube, I tell you right now, you did not hear that, okay? You did not hear that.
I'll spank his ass. He definitely got some pop, but he wild. He not sharp enough. Ah! All right, man, let's talk about it. All right, so where do I need to start at with this? All right, so Gary Russell hasn't fought since January of last year against Mark Masano. Obviously, he injured himself in a fight. That's not an excuse. It was clear as day that he injured himself. I still thought it was a close fight. Honestly, I thought it was a close fight. Mark Masano showed that he's not the smartest fighter. But however, they took the belt. Gary Russell lost. The thing about Gary Russell that constantly irritates me is he is calling out everybody at 135, but has yet to move up to fight anybody at 135. And he was doing this even when he had a belt at 126, and that was kind of irritating me. The most notable guy was Gervonta Tank Davis. Gary Russell was calling out Tank Davis for a long time, and not once moved up to 135, but not even really campaigning at 126 where he had his title at. Not active at all, right? Gary Russell has called out Gervonta Tank Davis. He has called out Shakur Stevenson, another guy that fights at 135 now. Now, I will say at the time that he called out Shakur Stevenson, Shakur was at 126 and at 130, but now it's at 135, all right? Devin Haney, they were in talks of making a fight. Another guy at 135, right? Ryan Garcia, although I knew that wasn't going to happen. So he has called out, and now Edwin De Los Santos, he's called out all these guys at 135, but has not moved up to 135 to fight anybody. I have stated this in the video a long time ago. I wanted to see Tank Davis versus Gary Russell bad, right? But that argument falls on deaf ears because what argument do I have to show that to warrant Gervonta or Gary Russell getting a title shot with Gervonta Davis, or getting a shot with Gervonta Davis, who is now elevated to the super WBA champion? All right. I don't have an argument because my thing is, bro, Gary Russell is not, for one, he's not even active in his own weight class. For two, he has never campaigned at 135. You never even, it'd be one thing if you fought at 135 and calling these guys out, then people would take you more serious. But the fact is, you're fighting at 125. Well, you fought at 125. That was the last time you fought, which was 2 years ago. At 125, bro, at 126. I didn't mean to say 25. At 126, you fought at 126. And now you're continuing to call these guys out at a bigger weight division. Like, what do they gain out of fighting you? Now, granted, I'm sure Edwin De Los Santos will fight you because at this point he's at a situation where he really has nothing to lose. All right, but Gary Russell, he's allowed his career to slip away. Like, people don't talk about Gary Russell, outside of guys like me that were a fan of Gary Russell, because I am a fan. I'm more of a fan of Gary Antoine Russell, his brother. But I am a fan of Gary Russell. I'm a fan of the Russells in general. But I was more of a fan of Antonio in the amateurs. In the amateurs, Antonio was that dude. But anyways, people like me will talk about, but that's far and few in between. Like, Gary Russell has not solidified himself at all. All right, he's not solidified himself, and that's a big problem with me because he's sitting on a lot of talent. Gary Russell is one of the most talented guys in boxing, but he's just not active. He's sitting around waiting for big fights. But bro, you have to keep yourself active until that time eventually comes, bro. And I don't understand, for the life of me, I don't understand why he chooses not to. He calls out guys that are not in his weight class, but it's like, bro, these guys are not going to fight you because they don't even take you serious enough, dog. Obviously, in your eyes, you're thinking, like, oh, I'm a big threat. They don't want to risk losing against me. But it's like, bro, they have nothing to gain from fighting you. You're not even competing in their weight class. You're fighting 2 weight classes below these guys. So why would they take that serious, bro? You don't make an argument for yourself. You don't have a leg to stand on when you sit here and call these guys out. And I've been stating that for the longest, bro. All Gary Russell has to do is make himself active enough, bro. If you move up to 135 and you start to fight these guys, bro, you make yourself active. Now I get it. Some of that is not on you because I'm learning. I learned boxing more and more. It's some of it's on the PBC. They only have certain slots that they can fill, right? But at some point, you got to take your career into his own hands. And bro, if you need to, I don't know who will pick you up right now because it's kind of like on the end of your career now, and you've allowed so many years to just go by you. But you gotta do shit because Wilder just did. You see what Wilder did? I mean, obviously he lost, but shoot, he done made $14.5 million. Hell, that ain't no loser in my eyes. But you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, you have to make yourself active, and then you have to fight people at 135 if you want to be taken serious from the guys at 135. And once you beat these guys, which, obviously I feel like you can. I'm not mentioning the top guys. I don't know about like the Tank Davises or the Shakur Stevensons or whatnot, but I do feel like you can beat a lot of these other guys in that division. Bro, then you put yourself in a position to where people will be calling for you to fight these top guys. But the thing about it is, right now you haven't put yourself in any position to fight these guys, bro. Like, you haven't even put yourself in a position for fans to be calling for these fights, right? I don't have an argument to stand on when I say I want to see Tank Davis and Gary Russell, or Gary Russell and Shakur Stevenson. I don't have an argument but why? Because, bro, you're not active enough. People have forgotten about you, bro. I'm just being 100. I'm that person that you need in your camp because I'm telling you the truth. People have forgot about you, G. And it's sad because you sit on a ton of talent, dog. But people have forgot about you, and it's your fault. So, bro, make yourself active, all right? Beat some of these no names up there, then you can make a call for that, all right? And I will be the one pushing for it, I promise you. But you got to do your part and be active, all right? Let me know what you guys think, man. Do you ever even want to see Gary Russell fight again? Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?